Hi, it's Jordan Teen 1, and in this video I'm going to share with you a way that I have come up with to attach arms and legs to a Loomigurumi project. So traditionally when you make Loomigurumi or Amigurumi, you make each individual part and then you sew the limbs on separately. And if you're anything like me, I struggle with that part very much and I really despise doing it. So the way that I am going to show you now is to attach the limbs while you're forming the main body section. So here I have my two arms and they have a stitch count of 6. And then here I have my two legs and they have a stitch count of 8. And then I have my body section I'm forming, and I decided to do that a different color just so you could see it a little bit better. So let me just take this body section and get it on my hook. And so I'm going to attach the first leg on this next stitch. So what I'm going to do is take my hook and put it in this next stitch going around, and let me just move these out of the way. I'll take my first leg, and you can see that I have my clip on my last rubber band here. So I'm going to take this loop that the clip is on from the leg, and that's going to go on my hook, and then I'm going to go to this next stitch over to the left on the leg here and go underneath that. So I have the 3 loops from the leg and then the 2 loops that are the body stitch. And let me just take this clip out of the leg. I'm going to take my next rubber band here, and I'll be using pink to attach this. I'm going through all 3 of those leg loops and then under the stitch, get the other end back on, so I have my 3 loops and 1 pulls through the other 2. And so now what you want to do is make sure that you turn your leg or arm, whatever you're attaching, and make sure that this open circle part is facing up, because right now we're just attaching the bottom of the leg. So I'm going to go through my next stitch over on the body, and then I'm going to go to this next stitch here on the leg, and this loop here is where we want to go under, because this was our loose loop, which was really the 8th band, or was going to form the 8th stitch. So I want to go underneath that. So now I have the 2 sets of stitches on there. Take my next band and it's going to pull through the 2 leg stitches, or loops I should say, 1 stitch, and then under the body stitch, 3 loops on your hook and 1 pulls through the other 2. And so I'm going to go under the next stitch of the body and again follow the leg stitch around. So go to that next one, pull my next band through, back on, and 1 through the other 2. So I've done 3 of the 8 stitches here, so if I look at the top here I should have 6 stitches left. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm just going to follow this around and let the leg alone. So I'm just going to follow around with 1 single crochet. I'm going to do just 1 in between, and then I'm going to add the second leg. So here's my 1, and then I'm going to the next stitch, and now I'm going to attach this second leg. It really depends on how far apart you want them spaced out, but I want them pretty much close to the front so my figure looks like it's sitting. So I'm going to again get this loose loop where the clip is, get that on my hook, and then go through the next stitch over here to the left. So you're starting out with 3 of your leg loops and then 2 loops for that body stitch. Going to pull through, get the other end back on, and then 1 band pulls through the other 2. And then again, you want to turn this, you want to make sure that that opening is facing upward. So I'll go to my next stitch over, and then this stitch here, which was that loose loop, pull through the 2 stitches, back on, and 1 through the other 2. And now I'm going to go to the next stitch over on each of these. Pull through the 2 stitches, back on, and 1 through the others. And so now I'm just going to follow this all the way around to complete this layer here, or this row. So now I've come almost all the way around. I have just 1 stitch left to do under where my clip is, and this is where I'm going to attach the next little section of my leg. Now since I have 8 stitches in the leg, I have decided I'm doing 3 at the bottom, which I just did. Now on this next row around, I'm just going to do 2, the outer 2, and then in my last row around I'll do the top 3. But depending on your stitch count, this may work out a little bit differently. It depends on the stitch count of what you're attaching. And when I do the arms, I will show you, since they're only a stitch count of 6, I'm going to attach them over 2 rows instead of the 3 rows like I'm doing the legs. So I'm going under where my clip is here. Again, this is just still the last one in this row. And then I'm going to attach the next stitch on the leg so I can see that I'm already through this one, so I'm going to go to the next one, go under that stitch, and then I'm going to pull through the 2 stitches and finish that out. And now I do want to move my clip, since this was the last one in this row, just as my stitch marker here. And then I'm going to do the next stitch just regular in the body. I'm not attaching any leg here, since we're just doing those 2 outer ones. And then in my next one is where I want to attach the other part of the leg. So I'm going to the next stitch over on the left. Just make sure that you're going through the right one. And I'm going to pull through that 2 stitches there. And now again, I just have a 1 single crochet in between the legs. And now in this next one here, I'm going to attach the inside part of the leg, so I'm just going to that next stitch over. This is why I use 2 different colors, so it would be a little bit easier to see. And then the next stitch is just plain. And then that next one is where I'm going to attach the outer part of the leg. So I'm going to that next stitch around there. And then once again, I'm just going to do 1 single crochet in each of my stitches till I work my way around the body again here. So I'll fast forward again. And again, I stopped short of finishing this row because I need to attach the leg here. So I actually have 2 stitches left to finish out this row. So I'm going in my next stitch, and then I should have 3 stitches left on the top of the leg. So I'm going to grab this next one on the outer section of the leg. And now this middle one here where my clip is, I'm going to that next stitch over on the leg. And let me just move my clip so I know where the end of my row is. And then this next stitch over should be my last little section of leg here I'm going to pick up. And then I have that one stitch in between the legs. And then with the next three, I'm going to pick up the last three sections of the leg. So here's the inside part, and then the next one is the middle. Whoops, I went through the wrong one there. And then here's my last little leg section. You might have to pull it a little bit. It gets kind of tight there. And then again, I'll just work my way around. So you can see here now how we have attached the legs while we were doing the rows, and I think it works out so much nicer. So I'm just going to work up several rows here, and then I'll show you how to do the arms. Now I've built my body up a couple of rows, and I'm going to show you how to attach the arms. So I want the arms to be more out to the side a little bit, and as I said earlier, the stitch count at the top of the arms here is 6, so it's smaller than the legs, and so I'm just going to attach these over 2 rows. So I'll do 3 stitches for each of the rows. So I'm just going to go into my next stitch here, get my hook underneath, and I'm going to take where my clip is, where that loose band is, and I can take out my clip. And it's a little bit harder to work with the 6 because the circle is a little bit smaller, so if you're not sure, just stretch them out. It's a little bit easier to see. I'm going under my next stitch, and again I'm just going to pull through the 3 for the arm and then the stitch of the body. Going over to my next one, and again I want to go under where that loose loop was, so you might have to pull it out a little bit. I can see it's right here. If you don't go under that loose loop, you're going to lose a stitch, which is why I always show it that way. And then one more here. I'm going to go under my next stitch of the arm. And now I'm just going to work my way around here till I get to a point where I think I want to attach the other arm. And so now I'm ready to attach my other arm. So I'm just going to keep repeating the same thing, get the loose loop on, and then go around to the next stitch. And then I'm going to pull my band through. Make sure I get through all of them here. And then moving over to my next one. And again, I should mention too, make sure you're making sure that that open circle is facing upward. Going under what that loose loop was. So that was my second, and I'm going to attach a third. And then I'll work my way around here. And now I'm ready to attach the other 3 on this next row. And when I did the legs, I had the stitch marker that helped me know where to put it. But since the stitch marker isn't around here, let me just show you. You want to do it on the stitch that's before where your arm starts, because as you do each layer, your bands will gradually shift over to the left. So we want to make sure we're going to this earlier one here. So I'm going under that, go through my next part of the arm, and that next stitch I'm going through the middle of the arm, and then in that last stitch going to the last empty stitch for the arm. And then again I'll just work my way around here. And now again in this next stitch here I'm going to do my last 3 parts of the arm here. So again, it starts a little bit earlier than you might think that it should, but you need to do that for it to line up. So here's my first one. And now I have the middle. And then finally here my last one. And then I'll just finish out this row here. And so here's my little figure. I have my arms and legs attached. I don't think it was too painful getting them on, at least for me. I find this so much nicer. And then of course when you're attaching the head, you can't use this method if you have a separate head and body piece. But in order to avoid having to attach a head, what I like to do is just, as I'm growing it up, I narrow it down till it gets relatively small for the neck, and then just build it out from there to make the head, so that way you're still not having to attach a separate part. So I hope that everyone finds this technique of attaching limbs helpful. You can always leave me comments on YouTube and Facebook, post pictures of your creations to my Facebook page, and please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on my latest tutorials. You can also find me on Pinterest and Instagram, so please feel free to subscribe to those as well. Thanks for watching!